Howdy, I would like to talk about some ideas, hopes, and speculation I have for the hypothetical 3D platforming game Twooka-Laylee, a sequel to Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. I say hypothetical because as of this recording, Tonic has not announced any such thing by the name of Twooka-Laylee or otherwise, and because I've made YouTube videos for way too long and am now beholden to content creation, I've created a list of 10 things I would like to see in Twooka-Laylee. I would also like to make it clear I'm just spitballing about Twooka-Laylee for fun and because I'm excited for it, and not some dumb, cynical, mean reason, and it really sucks that I feel like that needs to be clarified up top. Number 1. The name. I really want it to be called Twooka-Laylee, and I think it's pretty likely to be called that. While I went with TWO for hashtag Zachary will be in Twooka-Laylee, a YouTube comment left by Edward McArdle on the YouTube announcement for hashtag Zachary will be in Twooka-Laylee made me realize it's more likely to be spelled TOO like Banjo-Tooie. Honestly, I'm happy to take the L, I just like it to be called Twooka-Laylee. Number 2. Enemy variety. I'm pretty certain the small variety of enemies in Yooka-Laylee had to do with the small budget, the short development cycle, and the fact that combat has never been the standout part of a 3D platformer like Yooka-Laylee. The Impossible Lair had a nice variety of enemies and how you could interact with them, so I'm sure we'll see something similar to that in Twooka-Laylee. Number 3. Tonic usage. I would really love to see the expanded tonic list and multiple tonic slots of the Impossible Lair return. Obviously not all would translate between the mechanics of 2D and 3D platforming, but I really like the ideas the Impossible Lair had with how to enhance abilities and modify gameplay, and the work they put into all the visual effects and filters already exists, so why not just include those for fun? It's a real shame in Yooka-Laylee when you have to disable one of the fun visual tonics because you want to benefit from one of the mechanically useful ones, so bringing the multiple tonic slots forward would be really great as well. I doubt the quill modifier would make sense outside of a context where quills are a limitless resource you have to grind for, so maybe the tonics would need to be rebalanced with that in mind, or find something else to modify them when using mechanically beneficial tonics. Number 4. The method of unlocking a new world. This one is silly and maybe a little contentious, but I'd like to see the return of a simple minigame that unlocks the worlds. The timed literal puzzles that Jiggy Wiggy has you do are very cute, and I can't help but wonder what neat Pagey themed challenges the designers at Tonic would come up with. Number 5. Interconnected worlds. The interconnected worlds of Banjo-Tooie add a really nice level of depth and problem solving to any objective by getting another world in on the fun. I also just really appreciate seeing the cute ways the levels transition into each other. Number 6. State changes. Yooka-Laylee flirts with the idea of state changes with how Nimbo affects Tribal Stack Tropics, and every level having an expanded version, but I'd love to see it used more often and to greater effect than Nimbo, and altering the stage rather than adding to it like expansion does. The Impossible Lair has great state changes for its levels, and it'd be cool to see that kind of sweeping change for Twooka-Laylee's worlds. That style of state change may be too drastic for a 3D platforming world, but I'd definitely like to see the state change tie into the world on a more fundamental level than the 2 pages you get in Tribal Stack Tropics with Nimbo's help. It'd also be neat to see the state change tie into how the interconnected worlds interact with each other. Number 7. Altered Moveset. Steve and I discussed this at length during our Yooka-Laylee Let's Play, and I believe we'll end up seeing some changes to Yooka and Laylee's moveset in Twooka-Laylee. I'm sure some moves will be cut in favor of new ones, but I honestly think Buddy Bubble is the only one I'd outright cut rather than rework, but we'll talk about Buddy Bubble in the next point. The basic movement, tail twirl, reptile roll, sonar shot, buddy slam, and reptile rush are already really well designed moves that probably don't need tweaking, but Tonic has a lot of talent and I'm sure they'll find a way to do it regardless. Slurp shot and slurp state are also great, but I left them out because I'm sure we'll see new things to slurp in Twooka-Laylee. I also like Glide as it is, but I could imagine it being nerfed a bit since it's maybe too good, but that could be an intentional thing to appeal to a wider audience, so I get it. I would like to see Lizard Lash be a bit more responsive in choosing our grappling target, but I could also see a more fundamental rework and putting more emphasis on swinging and momentum to add some more interesting grappling arrangements to the game. Sonar Explosion and Sonar Shield are fine, but they don't make my heart explode or feel completely safe from stinky water either, if you know what I mean. I included these two together as I think incorporating Splosion as an attack you perform during Shield could be good. As it is in Yooka-Laylee, Shield is essentially a faster version of the Wonder Wing in Banjo, but I think making it knock back enemies rather than damage them, and then relying on Splosion as an attack could lead to more interesting interactions. Combining the two would also open up an input for one of the new moves likely to be introduced in Twooka-Laylee, assuming the crouch plus direction style of an additional move input carries over to it. Giving Splosion an area of effect tied to how long it's charged rather than a binary ready or not state could be interesting as well. Camo Cloak is fine and could have some nice interplay between new enemies that made stealth a bit more necessary, but its esoteric use of reflecting lasers either needs to go or be utilized more so I don't keep forgetting it can do that. Flappy Flight is absolutely the most tricky move to talk about. Seemingly, being able to fly at any time breaks platforming challenges, and acquiring it so late in Yooka-Laylee would seem to confirm that. The design of Galleon Galaxy and the rest of the levels in Yooka-Laylee and both Banjos demonstrates that's not exactly true though. Being a collectathon-style 3D platformer, there's always goodies to collect, and flying past the challenges also skips the goodie along the way. Galleon Galaxy also has several arrangements that either circumvent you from flying through naturally without outright denying you trying to fly through by not making it the optimal way to complete the challenge. I'm pretty positive about Flappy Flight overall, but the complaint I have with it is that I'd like to see parity in how it controls with number 8, swimming, and a little bit on flying. So swimming is serviceable in Yooka-Laylee, nothing great, but you don't use it a whole lot, so I'm sure it wasn't a big focus for a reason. Swimming in Yooka-Laylee is very similar to swimming in Banjo, with the exception you can quickly ascend and descend by holding specific buttons instead of needing to point yourself in that direction in 3D space. I think this is a smart way to handle swimming and would like to be able to descend like that when flying. Yes, that's my only real complaint with flying. I keep buddy slamming thinking I'll go down. Yes, that's why flying is in the swimming section as well. This being said, the Impossible Air has incredibly tight swimming controls, and it would be sick to see that level of control and speed make it to Twooka-Laylee. The Impossible Air has the advantage of being in 2D, but once again, I trust Tonic's chops. Just to reiterate, Buddy Bubble should eat it in favor of doing away with normal arrangements, but underwater now, in favor of better swimming arrangements. Number 9, split up? So obviously Twooka-Laylee is going to have some new moves, but I don't want to speculate on those too much because I guess that's the conjecture line for me? What I would like to talk about though is whether split up makes sense for Yooka and Laylee. Split up was a major component of Banjo-Tooie, and it opened up fun powers Banjo and Kazooie could only perform solo. I think Laylee enhances Yooka's skills nicely, and that there isn't really anything Yooka couldn't do just because Laylee is there. This isn't to say split up should just be the ability to let Laylee go solo with a Flappy Flight that doesn't consume stamina and run wild, although that isn't bad. I was thinking perhaps having specific spots where the pair splits up and Laylee has dedicated flying areas that could vary between stuff like a shoot 'em up segment or a puzzle box maze. But maybe she should just be able to go absolutely batshit crazy after all though. And finally, number 10, which is of course me. Hashtag Zachary will be in Twooka-Laylee.